Welcome to all of you. Welcome to the august Digital Transformation Talk audience. Your host is normally Kevin Crane, who's normally a lot more slick at this than I am. He is unfortunately indisposed. He sends his apologies, but we'll be back with you for future sessions of Digital Transformation Talk. So don't worry, you get rid of me fairly soon. But for the moment, for the next hour, you're stuck with me. We are going to be talking about a hot topic for today's session. We're going to talk about navigating AI at scale towards successful implementation, optimization gains, and frugal digital transformation. Frugal being the operative word there. How can you get the most bang for your buck, which is going to be an interesting topic. Now, we have got a little panel at the bottom, the attendee chat for all of our attendees. That is for you there to harangue me for having not turned my microphone on properly. You can also drop in your questions, your comments, your thoughts. We really want to hear from you, the audience, on this hot topic. Everybody's got an opinion about AI, and we want to hear yours as we go along. We're going to be talking about things like recruitment. We're going to be talking about productivity gains. We're going to be talking about how senior people can understand this stuff. We're going to be talking about the ethics of implementation and also upskilling and employment. So all the hot topics in AI and how to implement it in your business will come up in the course of this, I have no doubt. So please do drop them in or just say hello. It'd be nice to hear from you folks and to know that there's some people out there actually watching. So fantastic, let's crack on. We have a good panel actually to be discussing all this stuff. We have got Jose Saiz de Almeñeca, who is an expert in procurement, supply chain, sustainability, e-commerce, and AI, usefully, part of the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe. We've got Martin Miller, who's now a hot gun for hire, a CTO for startups and other tech companies, but was ex-director of artificial intelligence and machine learning for none other than Levi Strauss & Company. You might be wearing their clothes. As you watch this, who knows? We've also got Dr. Peter Versecker, who's Chief Digital Officer of Schneider Electric. You might be using their power as you're watching this. We're going to be talking to each of those folks in a second as they dial up. Jose, first of all, can you hear me? Is your microphone on, unlike mine?
Hi, good afternoon, Jeff. It's nice to be here today.
Indeed. And Jose, before we get started, I introduce the others. Tell us a quick bit about your work for this United Nations panel.
I mean, I'm an expert, and I collaborate with the United Nations, but as well, I have the experience working for more than 20 years, working in procurement and supply chains, in these areas, in cosmetics and fashion and good consumer.
And of course, artificial intelligence, machine learning impacting massively on things like supply chain and procurement. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, how can the artificial intelligence can help to different sectors to gain more productivity and to upskill the people working in these areas, and as well to improve the forecasting and to improve the results of the company at the end. This is the end of the using of artificial intelligence and machine learning and these new technologies.
Good stuff. We'll come on to all of that obviously during the course of the discussion. Martin, can I come to you next? I described you as a sort of CTO gun for hire, but have I done the right thing there? Have I paraphrased too much?
No, that's what I do. I help the technology magic show its light of color and make great results.
It's a very slickly rehearsed introduction there. That's fantastic. And Martin, in terms of, by the way, I've got to ask Levi Strauss, did you get massive discounts then? Is your wardrobe full of fantastic designer denim?
Well, you know, I was a connoisseur of the denim before I was with Levi's. So the answer is yes. But this attire today is not Levi's. This is actually from the UK. It's from Justin Scooters. So there you go. I'm wearing my Vespa attire.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Peter, tell us a bit about Schneider, because people may have heard of the company but not quite sure what it does. Give us the once over, Peter, on Schneider and what the organization does.
Yeah, hello, Jeff, and thanks for having me today. Yeah, Schneider Electric is one of the very large unknown brands. We are north of 35 billion euros in revenue, and our main businesses are in industrial automation, in energy management, and also in software. And the strategy of Schneider has been based on 3 pillars, which are electrification. So we help the world to get electrified and support the trend for electrification. Second one is sustainability, and we have had our first sustainability program already 17 years ago. And the third is actually digital. And digital is being the enabler of both the future of electrification and also sustainability. So that's kind of the short summary what we do at Schneider.
Good stuff. Nice and brief. I like that. And was also much more clear, I have to say, than the Schneider website, which I struggled to understand. That's not your remit at all. So
thanks for that feedback. Something for us to look at.
Don't worry. Most websites I look at give me no idea what the company actually does. So you're far from alone in that perspective. So listen, AI, obviously a very hot topic, and we're going to be getting into all of the nooks and crannies of it. And it's been such a hot topic that, of course, it was on the agenda for the World Economic Forum in Davos. So we're going to have a little glimpse at what they were discussing, a little excerpt from that now. We're going to hear the fantastically named Zanny Minton-Beddoes, who is the editor-in-chief of The Economist, for those what didn't know, including me. And she's going to be introducing Julie Sweet, who is from the big consultancy company Accenture, making her points about artificial intelligence. Let's hear what they've got to say.
Julie, the Senator talked about how it was important to get the regulation right. Let's offer the Senator some advice on what areas and where you think, having seen this technology and seen your clients think about it, where would you advise the Senator that the Senate should focus and not focus?
Well, I'd probably take a step back and start with what the minister said is, when the leaders don't understand it, they just try to regulate it, right? So whether you're a government or a company, the single biggest differentiator between whether you're will succeed or not is your leadership. Do you actually really understand the technology? And that is very different than prior technology revolutions, where yes, most C-suites today understand their business is a technology business, but you actually have to understand it at a very deep level, because it's not, there are a million use cases, as Cristiano said. There's stacks. There's a lot of great videos, but you have to operationalize it. And when you operationalize it, you certainly have to do it in a responsible way. Like, let's remember, there wasn't a responsible PC or responsible cloud. There's responsible AI for a reason, right? And so I think whether you're a government or a company, an education and actually understanding it so you can make the choices and learn actually how to operationalize it. And my passion is around talent, because this will be a great technology if we can bring people along the journey, and we have to be able to reskill them. And we will not be able to reskill unless we think very differently about talent, both as a government and as a company. And we spend a lot of time, not because it just drives our business or that, but because fundamentally it's very basic. Well-paying jobs for people solve a lot of problems. And AI will create a lot of new jobs, but you won't be able to take the current people and put them in the jobs unless you partner together, government and companies, on reskilling.
So,
anyway, you were hearing there from Julie Sweet at Accenture, who was making some interesting points about artificial intelligence technology and where that's going to go next. Interesting points there, and one of the ones I want to pick up first of all, if I can with you, Peter, initially, I'll come to the other panelists after it, is about leaders and leaders understanding artificial intelligence technology. Peter, Julie seemed to be saying, from what I heard, that leaders need to really understand this on quite a deep level. They actually need to get across this and really understand the nuts and bolts of it. Do you think that is true? Do you think she's got a point there? And how far do you take that?
Yeah, I actually think this is true, but it's no different from other technologies. If you want to lead a business where a certain technology is an important enabler of your business, I think management needs to have a deep understanding of that technology. Now, if we look at ourselves, right, we have about 3 years ago made the decision to create an AI organization. So we also have a chief AI officer in Schneider. What we have also done, we have done quite some training for the senior management levels.
Cut Peter off there for a moment and go to Martin with the same question, just in terms of how much sort of in-depth knowledge the leadership team actually need in terms of AI.
Great question, but I might step back and say how much value is going to be created by their understanding, and even step back further. how will it be applied to make a return on investment. So investing in the AI at itself is just like investing in a screwdriver. I mean, if everything looks like a screw, you'll use a screwdriver. But if I need a hammer, then the screwdriver isn't the best tool. So the investment has to start at the top, the middle, the side, the bottom, all around. And upskilling is part of that journey. Application of AI is part of that journey, and tooling is also part of that journey.
Martin, can I ask you, as a CTO, you're more across this stuff probably than a lot of other people are. How often do you get asked by people who aren't technical, by leaders in organizations, by board level people, for a real explainer on AI? And can you deliver it? How do you deliver that?
Yeah, I do make several analogies. So first of all, I look at what's going on today as like another digital gold rush, like the California gold rush. And within that, if we break it down, there's a lot of people looking for gold, and not everybody finds it. They find pyrite, which is fool's gold, right? And so you got to sort between the hype and the reality and the effectiveness of the application of AI. AI is very powerful when applied to certain domains, and really powerful when you leverage it for the right reasons. You can also weaponize AI, and you can also tell stories with AI that may or may not lead to a return on investment that makes sense. Right sizing it is really important, and understanding this is what I expect, measure. If it doesn't measure again, try it again, experiment.
Thanks for that, Martin. I'm going to go back because Peter, I hope we've got Peter back. Peter, you were explaining how Schneider a few years ago had made the decision to become an AI company. And I just wondered what that meant in terms of everybody's, including leaders, understanding of AI, Peter.
Yeah, sorry for that. And I hope, can you hear me again? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Okay, very good. So we made the decision 3 years ago to create an AI organization and create critical mass. We have nominated a chief AI officer who is part of my organization, who works with everybody in Schneider. When I say work with everybody, that means working with all internal functions, but also working with all of our businesses. Now, coming back to the question, how deeply do we need to understand technology? Now, I think management needs to understand what can this technology be used for, right? What are the business cases that are being enabled by technology? And then, of course, we need to have technical experts who are really deep, who master that technology. Now, for us at Schneider, we are not building any foundational technologies on AI. We are using many foundational technologies from many other companies, but we also need to put them to use and train them, customize them to our needs. And for that, we need to have the right technical experts, and we need to also have the right people on the management level with the right skills to understand what are the business cases that AI enables for Schneider.
Interesting. Yeah, and the skills bit and getting the right people bit is something I want to come on to, which we will do in a second, Peter. Thank you for that. Jose, what do you make of this idea that, as Julie said from Accenture, that senior people need to have this kind of real experience, this real knowledge of how AI works?
Yeah, they have to know how this works. They have to meet with other departments in order to make the path, to make the journey, in order to implement the IA. And after that, the technical people have to develop with different tools. They have to develop this this journey, this step by step, defining what is the most important things in what is needed to apply the IA in the company. And after that, little by little, you have to apply in the company. You have to look for the minimum value proposition, and as well together with the objectives and the KPIs in the company, and train the model and see that it's working, this model.
Yeah, it's interesting, Jose, from your perspective, obviously looking at this procurement, looking at the supply chain, I imagine for you getting senior people interested in AI and taking it seriously, that doesn't seem like it would be a big challenge, because you can say to them, look, you have to get your things from, so you have to acquire your products in some way. You have to get the things that you need, the materials that you need. And in order to do that, you're going to have to get smarter about procuring them. Have you found it a fairly easy conversation telling people to get AI embedded in their procurement, their supply chains, and so on?
I mean, in some cases can be difficult because the management doesn't understand that is the future. It's not the future. It's the now. There are companies like Zara, that is the Spanish company for fashion, that is applying already artificial intelligence in forecasting in supply chains. There are other companies like Walmart, that they are already applying. But the management that they must know that the artificial intelligence is being applied now and is working now. Perhaps it's not in some cases because working in some projects. At the beginning, the results are not what you expect. But once you train the model, once you fix the bugs, it's working and it's working properly. So I think it's the management must be that realize that this is something that must be applied and must be working in the companies.
Interesting. Could I come back to you, Peter, because you talked about bringing the right management in who understand AI's potential, and that brings us into this whole skills area and recruitment area. Peter, how are you doing at finding people who've got that aptitude? Do you need somebody who's, like Martin has, already worked in AI at another company, or are you finding that people can bring cross skills that you can recruit people who get it but haven't necessarily worked in it?
Yeah, very good question. Just checking, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, just doing this check now. So actually, when we started this 3 years ago, hiring was one of our bigger challenges. And we made the decision that we need dedicated recruiters for this. We also have built up AI hubs around the world, in North America, in Europe, in Asia, and we have established dedicated recruiters. Actually, we also learned finding the recruiters with the right skills is not an easy task, right? So recruiters is a skill profile that's not easy to find. Now, once we had the right recruiters in place, once we were able to also have dedicated experts that are able to articulate the value proposition of Schneider, what we are trying to achieve, our goals around electrification and sustainability, and how AI is being used to help achieving these goals, it actually became not easy, but we became very successful in acquiring and hiring the right skills into the company. And in the last 2 years, we have hired a couple hundred people for AI. And this is different skill profiles. This is data experts. This is experts for neural networks. This is experts for speech and image recognition. But it's also people who have the business expertise to turn certain technical capabilities into business outcomes. And my recommendation is have very dedicated recruiters to bring the right people on board.
And Peter, were you going to the big recruitment companies and saying, can you find someone in your company who can recruit? Or were you actually going to individuals to say, look, you know about AI, to individual recruiters? How did it work?
So actually, we used our own recruiting capabilities, so our own HR organization. We used external services to a very, very limited degree. And at the end, we were able to reach out into the market, to the right talents through, of course, a very attractive value proposition that we have as Schneider Electric. And clearly, us being on the forefront of that electrification transformation and the sustainability transformation allowed us to articulate a value proposition which is very, very appealing for a lot of people.
Interesting. So yes, you're trying to paint the right picture of yourself and your company to make you attractive for the people that you need to recruit. It's interesting. Obviously that makes sense. I hadn't thought of it from that perspective. Martin, can I talk to you about this then? The companies that you're CTOing for, are they full of really bright AI people who know all this stuff and can get work wherever, or are you also in the company struggling to get hold of this talent?
Yeah, it goes in all directions. I would start with somebody with good analytic skills and making decisions with data and software development lifecycle and how to build things in a software development lifecycle and educate them into applying a machine learning solution together with them, and that can be done paired up with someone that does experimentation from a data science perspective. There's a nice pipeline of, I would call, data scientists in the market. However, going from a data scientist notebook or their laptop to a productionalized operation is not in the skill set typically of data science. And so there's a lot of intermediary tools out there, vendors, more than we could count on our hands, feet, and toes. But the efficacy is all over the place. It's cost driven. And so you have to balance how you find your people and educate and train your people. So building a sustainable practice is like building an exercise of a sports machine. And so you're teaching that sports machine to perform at the level like an athlete.
That's interesting. So from what you said, it sounds like it's possible to take people and upskill them. The question then, Martin, for folks is how much of that is my job to kind of take the person on and have faith that they'll upskill, or how much can I say to people, look, these are the skills you need, you go away and you get them? Where do you think the balance sits there?
Great question. So it depends on where we're going to go with this. If we're trying to do a neural network or something with a machine learning practice, then we have to have some core foundational knowledge. We're not going to just come out of school being an expert, and we're not just going to jump somebody in from customer support to do that. But if we take a different direction and we're going to say we're going to apply something from a large language model that comes out in a chat bot, then it's really, how does this impact the business? How can I leverage this? How is this trained against which data set? Do I have the right data set? Is it giving me the outcomes I want? Is it for internal facing, external facing? You have to weigh those risks of, do you have the right people that understand? It's okay to give a bad, I would say a less than stellar answer inside the firewall, but publicly it's no longer acceptable. So you do have some barriers or circuit breakers to cut off a bad data flow.
Interesting. Okay, we've had a question come in from Chris Stevenson. I'm hoping we can plug that question up on the screen. But Jose, I want to come to you on this reskilling and skilling question. In your world, the sort of procurement supply chain type world, that sounds like quite a data heavy industry to be in. Is there quite a big leap for people, Jose, in that area to get upskilled in terms of the AI, or is that a sort of smooth process?
As I said, it's a journey. The people in the different departments. If you have a department that is specific for this, for data analytics and to develop the models, it's something that everybody has to learn about should learn about artificial intelligence. They have some skills about in order to even if you have a specific department, in order to develop and to understand the data that you are getting from this department, and as well to help them because you can be specialized in you can have the historical data, and you want to make the forecast for the next year, but you have to be involve both departments, the procurement department, the supply department, together with the data department, in order to get the best results.
Yeah, interesting. Thanks for that, Jose. One of the panelists, by the way, on that Davos panel from IBM, talked about the fact they gave, I think, everybody a week off at IBM, not a week off, but a week to go and experiment with various AI to try and work out how the AI could improve their jobs. And they came out with lots of ideas from that. I thought it was an interesting strategy. Chris's question is on screen, I think, for you at the moment. What strategies, Peter, I'm going to ask this to you first, and then the other panelists. What strategies, Peter, can organizations use to identify the skills gaps within their workforce and develop targeted training programs, or is the solution only recruitment? So I think that's about how you develop talent from inside, from what I gather there, Chris. Peter, what do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think the first thing that you need to do is really do a skills assessment, right? And what we do at Schneider for skills assessment, we We actually, by the way, we do not only do that specifically for AI, but we kind of try to predict where are we going to go with our business. We are trying to predict what are the skills that we need. This is true for AI, but that's also true for other capabilities. On the sales side, for example, around cloud and many other things. And then we look at what are the skills and profiles that we have in the organization, what is the attrition, retirement rate that we're going to have over the next years. And with this, we kind of try to predict what is the skills gap per skill category, right? And now, if you have an understanding for that, what is that future skill gap, and what is the future demand that is coming at you, then you need to ask the question: how do you close that gap? Is this through recruitment? Is this through upskilling and training, or a combination of both? And it's usually a combination of both. So we have clearly decided everybody in the company needs to have some basic understanding of AI, because everybody's job in Schneider, and I believe in most other companies, will be impacted pretty heavily through AI. That's sales jobs, that's R&D jobs, that's finance jobs. Everybody will be using AI. So we need to train people at least on how to use AI and how to take the maximum benefit out of AI capabilities. Then when it comes to more special needs, how do you really tailor AI capabilities? How do you train a large language model on your proprietary content? Then you, of course, need to have people who have very specific know-how on how to do these things. And here it's clearly a combination of upskilling and bringing new people on board. And we are very dedicated to do both in Schneider.
Interesting. Thanks for that, Peter. Esme's got a question in the chat. We'll try and get your question next, Esme. But before we do, Martin, I want to come to you on this, because I'm interested, Martin, the companies that you're working with as a CTO, are these big companies? Because a company like Peter's is big enough that you can maybe recruit or upskill internally, or the companies you're working with, Martin, smaller, and therefore they inevitably need to recruit from outside because they haven't got enough people inside to upskill. What's the pattern?
Yeah, so supporting today, we have to have top talent. We need people that are enabled. They're just like an athlete. I'm going to bring in my top player. I'm going to bring in to bend the ball, right? And I need several Beckhams on my team. I can't just, and then they have to be able to communicate well, understand the business value, and be able to be a storyteller. So typically,
apologies, Martin. We're having a bit of trouble with Martin's connection there. My microphone issues were entirely my fault, self-induced. Martin's, it's glitches in the system, so don't worry about that. Jose, can I come to you on this point in terms of trying to develop talent from within and sort of talent management programs from within? With the folks that you've worked with, is that common, or are they generally trying to get skills in from outside?
I mean, it has to be both. You have to, because I know there are people that are studying for international artificial intelligence or machine learning by their own, and you have to check what you have. Peter said, what you have in the organization and what you can bring from outside. You have to combine both in order to get the best results. There are people that they have. So, but the company can assess, can give more training in order to skills to these people, and as well you have to bring a specialist that analyze data engineer in order to build the department, and as well to spread the word and to give more information to the inside the organization.
Thanks, Jose, for that. Martin, can I come back to you? I think we lost you from the beginning, so if you could start at the start, that would be great.
So we're talking about the companies I support, and can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear you now, Martin? Thank you.
Yeah. So I have to have senior level people. I'm not looking to upskill in my little startups. we need to hit it running. We need to kick the ball like Beckham did. And I have 5 Beckhams in my front row. And so they all have to be able to, play trickery and be able to pull the magic off. If one falls, the other one picks up. When we go to the next level, then I bring on, I would say more junior resources. We upskill them as we bring them on. We write up the playbooks for how they operate. And, as you go up to like a larger organization like I've been with, you do other things like, you gamify learning and you bring up learning platforms and you bring up easy ways to get certificates and gamification and promote that internally. So, in a large org, those are real challenges, and you really need to invest in the learning platforms to help upskill your people.
That's going to, Esme's question sort of taps into that, which we're hopefully going to get to in a bit. If I can ask our august producer at Digital Transformation Talk to stick Esme's question in the window, that'd be great. But Martin, can I stay with you for a second, because you've talked about getting 5 David Beckhams there, which obviously isn't cheap, and I just wondered how vibrant is the market for getting that top talent?
So it's not just the top talent; they have to mesh with you as humans, and you have to be able to communicate and be well versed in how to interact with each other. And it's not exactly 5 David Beckhams, but 5 people that know their roles very well and can hit it running. They know to be at the right spot on the field. They know to pick up here. They know when to play defense. Really critical. And so when we come to the basis of, like machine learning, let's go learn how to, use something in TensorFlow. Coming in, we've done these things, we've built these things, and we've made mistakes. So we know a better path forward. Yeah.
Interesting. I never realized there was so much football crossover with artificial intelligence. Thank you for that, Martin. Esme's question in the chat. Thank you for this. I thought this was a good one. Peter, I'm going to ask you this one and then bring in the other panelists. What are the potential barriers to employee acceptance and adoption of AI technologies? How can organizations foster a culture that embraces continuous learning and innovation? Esme, in that World Economic Forum chat, they had some interesting stuff about that, about how to get people interested in this. But Peter, have you done much work around this, of trying to get the workforce enthused about it, even if it's not directly impacting their job right here, right now?
So actually, we at Schneider have perceived both barriers as well as excitement, and it depends a little bit on the boundary conditions. And I can share maybe a few examples here. So in the last year, like many other companies, we have been looking really into generative AI and how we can use generative AI to drive productivity in Schneider. And we experienced really 2 areas which have the biggest impact for us. One is code generation for our R&D community, for our software developers, right? And that's an area where we have created more excitement, because software developers are usually tech people, right? They like to play with the latest technology. And we found that that the use of code generating tools drives productivity up to 20% for us, right? Which is a huge number. Now, we took the concerns away by clearly saying our ambition is not to reduce the number of our software developers. So it's not productivity by cutting headcount, but the ambition clearly is we want to generate more output quickly, right? Faster time to markets of our product. That is generating quite some excitement. And people want to use the tools. And we have more and more people telling us we cannot imagine to not have these tools available to us anymore in the future. Now, I can also talk about some pushback and barriers that we have seen. So as soon as you want to drive productivity, and your teams, your organization have the perception productivity becomes a headcount exercise, a headcount reduction exercise, then you face quite some pushback. So in some other areas where we are introducing AI productivity tools, and where we believe we can do the same with less people, of course, people do not get totally excited to introduce AI to cut their own jobs eventually, right? My message to people is AI doesn't usually replace your job, but somebody who knows how to use AI might be replacing your job.
Interesting. Yeah. sweetening the pill, but not making it too sweet there, I think. Jose, can I ask you about this on the sort of supply chain procurement side? How often do you hear this from people saying, look, I'm getting pushback, this isn't working, there's resistance, people are concerned, possibly rightfully concerned. How often, Jose, do you hear that?
The people is concerned regarding their jobs in some cases, because they say that the IA can replace and can give more better information and the faster information. But the thing is, I think that people have to use the artificial intelligence. They have to use the tools in order to improve the productivity, because productivity could gain around 20-25%. I don't think it's reduce the people. I think the idea is the people use the IA to be more to gain productivity and to have better information, and to can check the market and can check what is happening around. You can use different tools in order to get that information that is in a easier way and a faster way. I think that's the point.
And Jose, it's a bit of a difficult question maybe to answer, but if somebody is thinking, well, how can AI change my role? How easy is it for them to sort of pick up tools? Because I'm thinking, people can just use ChatGPT straight off the bat, but the kind of industry that you're in, the procurement supply side stuff, how easy is it for somebody to embrace the AI, implement it, get it going? Does it take a long time for somebody to kind of just get that going in their job, or are there tools they can pick up relatively quickly in your experience?
It's to apply artificial intelligence is not a easy way. Is not very faster. You have to first design what is the tool that you want. After that, you have to see in which area you want to apply, and after that you have to train the model. It's not faster. It's not cheaper. And you have to involve all the departments, the organization, in order to apply these tools and to get the results that you expect. But I think it's the people have to be more and more involved with this in these areas, and have to be more knowledge about this the artificial intelligence or these new technologies.
Yeah. Thanks, Jose. Interesting. Martin, can I come to you? Just the closing few minutes. I'm just interested in this idea of frugality, of getting the most bang for your buck. Martin, much as I'm sure most companies would love to have loads of money to throw at AI, and some companies possibly do, for others, they're having to make business decisions about this. How much money do I put into this? And I just wondered, do you have sort of advice for organizations in terms of how to be shrewd about where you put your AI money, as it were?
Sure. So, if you're a tech business, it's a little different. But if you're a non-tech business, you sell retail goods, you can apply things off the shelf. You can take vendor-based solutions. You do not need to recreate the wheel. Many of the cloud vendors out there, the AWS of the world, the Google Cloud, even the Microsofts of the world, they have solutions off the shelf. They have vertical support for solutions in your domain. Leverage your cloud partners. I heavily would support that over hiring a team or an army of people to invent it for you.
Yeah, interesting stuff. I think that's very, very wise words. That, and leaning heavily on your suppliers probably is a good idea to get to the good point. We are running up against time. Apologies about that. It's been a fascinating chat, and I've really enjoyed talking to all of our panelists. I want to thank Jose Saez-de-Olmeñaca, expert in procurement, supply chain, etc., United Nations Economic Commission for Europe. Martin Miller, who's CTO for startups and other tech companies, former director of AI for Levi's, and Dr. Peter Verkesser, Chief Digital Officer at Schneider Electric. I'm sure they're all on, in fact, they all are all on LinkedIn, because I looked at them today. So if you want to get in touch on LinkedIn, drop them a line. I'm sure they'd be lovely to connect with you. There is going to be another episode of Digital Transformation Talk with somebody who can apparently work a microphone and possibly even a ring light. Tomorrow, they're going to be talking about why aligning your tech and business goals is essential for digital transformation success. That's going to be tomorrow, 17th of January at 4 p.m. UK time. For the moment, though, on behalf of me, Jeff White, and the Digital Transformation Talk team, and our august producers who work behind the scenes to sort all of the tech issues out, thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you again soon for the rest of it.